I'm gonna call you formerly known
Not-
as Yaz.
Formerly
Not
known as
Demon,
seeing much of a
yes.
difference.
2 hours and 19 million views.
For what?
Rockstar trailer for GTA 6.
Oh,
Well-
okay. You lost me. You lost me at G.
Oh my.
He doesn't know how to
GG.
spell. Stop making fun of him.
That's right. I'm dyslexic.
Would somebody layer me, please, to 8?
Oh, I need a layer invite
Is
too,
that
so,
what
and I
the-
need to get there.
I'll invite you,
Join
but
the
I
raid.
haven't the foggiest what layer I'm on.
Okay.
I guess I can
Layer
just
one for me
watch.
Well, whoever has the raid, whoever's starting the raid group, right?
The raid is
Thank
full.
you.
Oh.
Thank you for the
Can you
keepsake.
get out of the raid group and create a
could
new raid
resist.
group in the same area?
Yes.
Maybe if someone wants to, Seb, do you want to drop out of the raid group and then start another one?
Sure, I can try that.
Actually, we've got. Wait, never mind.
Ooh, we're doing 2 raid groups. All right.
Let's see. Got a person that's.
I'm in here all alone.
Pull them
Are
out.
you sure you don't belong in the Happy People Guild?
We have more than that though that wants to join.
All right.
We can do 4 raid groups. See who wins. Anyone with X-Bite will win.
Yeah, you definitely belong in the Happy People Guild.
That's a thing?
Yes, you.
Oh.
What's the Happy People Guild?
There's literally a guild in WoW right now called Gay People.
I regret to inform you, Mac, I have to drop this guild to join that one.
I guarantee you the people in that guild are neither version of the word gay.
All right.
Loser.
I mean, yeah, I mean, at least it's not that one group called Toxic Community.
Yep.
There was actually a
They were horrible.
And they were, in fact, a toxic community. It was impressive.
All right, everybody.
Loser slack.
Is everybody able to see my screen in Discord?
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
I don't
Yeah,
wanna
I got
see
it
Are we? Is that what we're doing? We're just gonna like watch your stream, or are we just listening and talking? I don't
I'm
understand.
going to be sharing my screen for a couple of documents, so you'll want to watch
Oh,
my stream.
The resolution is terrible though.
Yeah, well, you know.
Like I can't even read the names.
Well,
Yeah,
you-
the res-
I mean,
it's
it's
pretty
because
bad right
I have a huge monitor, and you don't even have.
Are you on a modem?
This reminds me of all that 90s porn that got stuck halfway loaded.
Channel 0.
It's probably Discord.
Channel Zoo. It's a spice channel.
You said it's streaming at 1440p 60 FPS, but this is like chunky FPS.
That fake HBO channel.
Yeah.
It's net zero internet.
All right, I'm gonna
Ah.
ask. Hey, everybody, we are 1 minute to the start. I'm gonna ask everybody, please, to mute their mic, so we can get started. Everybody, please mute your mic. If you want to see, I'm going to be sharing a couple of documents for you to look at. One of them is our raid policies, and I want to share a couple of other things with you. But first, stream says too many. Actually, you know what we can do also is I'm streaming it on YouTube. Let me get you guys the link to that on YouTube. Give me a second here. We'll find it.
We'd probably be able to see that better, Mac,
That's probably
than the
even
Discord
better.
stream.
Yeah. I'll put this in general chat. That way you can see it. All right, you can look at that. That should be the stream. Although you'll want to mute the YouTube because there'll be a delay there.
Oh yeah, that's way better, Mac.
All right, good deal. Yeah, streaming on Discord kind of sucks. All right. Good deal. Thanks. I wanted to thank everyone for being here and for being a part of our brand new guild. Kind of our history is that we started about 6 months ago when we were on Bloodsail Buccaneers. We were kind of an unofficial hardcore guild. And then when hardcore went live, then we all migrated over there. Several of the folks that are in Discord and are with us tonight have been with us from the very, very beginning. So pretty excited about what we have happening in our guild, and you know, it's just really, really cool to see all of the people that have come over with us, and all of our new folks. And I just want to say welcome to you all, and thank you for making this a great opportunity and a great community. The best thing about Filthy Casuals is, you know, not all the it's, you know, it's not about getting world first or server first or anything like that, but it's about, you know, being a family, and that's kind of always been my vision. And want to consider each of you my family, and in game, and you know, want more than anything for you guys to treat one another in the same way. So thanks for being who you are. So we are going to talk tonight about rating. I would just ask that you have patience with us. Kind of what we're wanting to do as a general timeline is we want to, in this meeting tonight, is first we want to talk a little bit about what our guidelines are for, and our expectations are for rating. I want to put out there a couple of asks just in terms of leadership that we're looking for, and we want to talk about how we're going to be doing loot. We want to talk about kind of some timelines. My hope is that will be that some of our groups will be, our raid teams will be able to start. You know, could be as early as Wednesday or Thursday. The idea is that we have a survey that's going to be going out after this meeting. We're going to share the channel. We want everyone that's interested in raiding to fill out the survey, because it is from that survey where we will put the teams together. I know a lot of you have joined the guild with other real life friends, and there is a place on the survey for you to ask, for you to basically specify you have real life friends you want to raid with. We will do our very, very dead level best to try to put the raid teams together with that in mind. The main thing is we don't want to gimp any of our teams by not putting together the right composition. So it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, but you know, we want to try to get the teams together by Wednesday, Thursday at the latest, and then hopefully by Friday we'll be able to have our first sets of guild runs. So what I wanted to do is share the first thing, and that is our raid guidelines. This is the raid guidelines are something that the officers have gone back and forth with. We talked about it quite a bit, so it does reflect what we believe, and it does reflect our values. And so I'm putting this up on the screen. Does anyone can I have somebody speak up and tell me, are you able to see this? Is it large enough?
I don't see anything back.
I see it. We're good.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, is
It's
it
good.
showing up on YouTube?
No. Oh, now it is.
Okay, good deal. All right, so you know, again, like I said, the main thing is we want to have a set of responsibilities and benefits. That way, everybody knows kind of what we're expecting, and this is what we expect out of all of our raid teams. The most important thing is that we want a peaceful, non-toxic community with people that we can consider to be our friends. And we're laying them out to you tonight so that before we go in, we're all in agreement that this is what we're going to be doing. Okay? So kind of our responsibilities, what we're asking for of our raiders, just some very basic things. Number one, the expectation is that you start farming your previs as much as you can. You know, you can, you need to run dungeons, you need to do craftage, you need to get as much gear as you can so that your tunes are appropriately geared before the raid. You know, we don't want to bring in people that are wearing white gear or just all quest screens, but you know, you need to have done some dungeons to kind of get the best gear that you can. Last night, the officers and a couple of other folks went in there to try to down a few bosses. We ended up getting 5 out of 7. When we got to the 6th boss, it became very clear that yeah, there were some mechanics that we were missing out on, but it is very much a DPS and HPS check. So our expectation, you know, is for you to get the best gear that you can. I think it's starting to become clear, but we want you to understand your class and your role. Still things that we're going to be discovering, but you know, we do ask that you understand, you know, what is, you know, what you do in your class. Understand the content. So there's not a whole lot that we know about the raid, but at least what we saw yesterday is it's fairly simple. And so we're getting ready, or actually today we just opened up in Discord. We opened up a new channel. It's under resources, and there's a channel called Raiding Resources that has loot sets. It has link to boss encounter summaries. There's a video that has kind of a 30-second raid guide for each of the bosses, and then a more in-depth fight for Lord Calrus and Akamai. So you know, look at, you know, avail yourself of that stuff. That way you'll be able to understand. One thing we do ask is if you can't make the raid, then you need to give your raid leader plenty of time. I'm guessing we'll probably have some folks that are happy just to be alternates rather than main raiders all the time. But you know, it's, you know, if you're going to raid at 7 o'clock and you know, it's 5 o'clock, you know, just 2 hours before, and you tell your raid leader, hey, sorry, I can't make it, then what you've done is you've let down the other 9 people in your raids. So we want to make certain that we give, if you're going to be gone, you need to give your raid leader plenty of advance notice. You know, I don't want to talk about negatives, but you know, it's important for you to be there for, you know, because it's not just you and your position. It's also, we're also thinking about raid comp, because especially in 10-man raiding, there is the concept of people having the right buffs. So we all of a sudden we lose our mage buff, then you know, then that really kind of challenges some of our casters. You know, I don't want to be negative at all, but if we see folks excessively being absent over time, you're probably going to lose your raid spot. So just kind of keep that in mind. We do see it as, we do want it to be fun, but you know, also think about the other people that are dependent on you. We do ask that you be in Discord and at the raid meeting stone 10 minutes before raid time. We're going to start polls exactly on raid time, so no you know, that's, we want to respect your time, and all of you, almost all of you are busy, you're professionals, so I know you understand getting to work on time. Kind of the same thing applies for us for raid. Do ask that during combat, we want you to keep your comms clear. You know, you can joke around and have fun between pulls, maybe if you're doing trash, that sort of thing. But during boss, I want to ask that you keep comms clear. Let your raid leader or your heals leader or your tank leader communicate things. That way we can a little more effectively communicate to you. You're not going to agree at all times with what the raid leader has as a strategy. The most inappropriate time to disagree with them is in front of the whole raid. If you have something that you don't agree with, whether it's a strategy, whether it's a loot decision, whatever, then I would ask that you approach an officer or the raid leader after the raid, not during the raid, but afterwards. You know, we don't, you know, we want to listen to your concerns. We want to make certain that we're listening and have that ear out, but also at the same time, that can be really negative to the overall morale of the team if we have someone that's challenging the overall leadership of the raid leader or the officers. Something that I'm going to be a real stickler about is that we're not going to have any main swapping during a raid tier unless it's deemed necessary by the raid leader or officers in order to make progression. So, you know, I've seen in some guilds that I've done in the past where somebody just gets bored with their class, they level up another character and they expect to be carried to regear another tune. We're not going to do that in this guild. So whatever you've chosen to level, whatever you've chosen to raid with, in terms of the spec, in terms of the role, that's what we expect you to stick with during this particular level up raid. If you want to change after we get to the 25 to 40, that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to, you know, we could also do some alt raids where you could do, you know, bring some alts to it if you want. But as far as your main, it's you're going to be set in stone during the raid tier. The primary reason for this is, you know, gear. We only get 2 pieces of loot per boss per week. So if we have somebody that comes in and decides they want to swap mains, if we were to let them do that, then that would be unfair to the other raiders who are already there. And, you know, say for example that person won a piece away from a raider that's been there all along. You know, that's just not very equitable. So I'm just going to be a stickler about this. Also, I know things are really costly right now, so, you know, we want to have some leeway with this. But we, you know, once we kind of get more materials, you know, we are going to ask you to try to make certain that you get your gear enchanted, try to have food, your potions, elixirs, oils, shop rending stones, that sort of thing. One of the things that we do have is a guild bank, and I would just encourage you to, you know, as you are able to, I'm not asking you to, you know, give everything to the guild bank, but if you have, you know, some extra stuff, some greens, or if you have raid mats, anything, you can send it to FC Bank, and she can utilize, you know, if it's greens, then what she can do, Nicolette can do, is put them on the auction house to get gold, and maybe hopefully at some point be able to provide some of our raid consumables for the raid. But at least for now, I would ask that you try to farm as much as you can. So let's talk about, before we move on, any questions about anything that I've mentioned so far?
All cleared.
All right. Thank you, Yaz. Appreciate it. So let's talk about loot, because loot is typically the most controversial thing, and I've seen just the dumbest things, you know, loot disputes break up guilds. And, you know, my philosophy is that loot is essentially, it's pixels, you know, and so it's the worst reason to see, you know, drama. But also at the same time, I do believe that if you are spending your time, that everyone deserves to be rewarded with loot. You know, hopefully, you know, we'll be able to raid long enough for everyone to finish the raid with their BIS. If you don't get your BIS, then, you know, it's okay. We've got more raiding to do and more leveling to do in a couple of months. So, you know, I would just ask that, you know, let's try to not get dramatic about loot. So, you know, we went back and forth as officers. How are we going to do loot? And so one of the things that we agreed to is the soft reserve loot system. I know there are a million things out there. There's DKP, there's GDKP. I mean, there's just a million things out there. But one of the things that we felt was the most fair is the soft reserve loot system. And how this works is that you'll be able to every raid night you'll be able to soft reserve one piece of loot, and if you're the only person that soft reserves that, then you will get that. And if it's not hard reserved, then you'll get that. Otherwise, if multiple people have soft reserved it, then there'll be a roll off. But what we will be using eventually, once they get all the loot online, is we'll be using soft-res.it to do our soft reserves. But until then, we're going to maintain a spreadsheet that I would expect for you to put your soft reserve in, and it has to be in before the raid starts. If you don't have your soft reserve in before the raid starts, then the spreadsheet will be frozen. We'll take a snapshot of the spreadsheet. That way, nobody changes their decision during the raid. So that's kind of how that is going to work. We are going to have some hard reserves, and so and this is one thing that I would like to just talk a little bit about. One of the most difficult things for progression is tank and healer strength. Typically DPS are pretty good and can go with a little bit lower gear, but if your tanks are getting crushed and your heals don't have the gear to be able to heal the raid, then that's one of those things. And so for that purpose, we're setting out basically a hard reserve to give to tanks and heals for each raid tier. It says one weapon and one trinket, but looking at the loot tables today, the trinket that you can get is on a quest. So I'm going to say one weapon is going to be hard reserved for tanks and heals. That would be the only thing that does get hard reserved. Once they get that one piece, then they go back to a soft reserve with all of the other raiders. So that's the hard reserve. So anyway, how the soft reserve loot system works is that if an item drops, if it has not been hard reserved, it can be soft reserved before the raid by any amount of players. You can have only one soft reserve per raid night, and it must be declared before the start of the raid. If the soft reserve item drops, all players who soft reserve it will roll for it. If only one person soft reserve the item, they'll automatically get it. If no one has a soft reserve on the item, then we'll roll first for their main spec. If no one rolls main spec, we'll do an off spec. If there are any items that are not rolled on, we'll disenchant them, and the mats will be sent to the guild bank. Okay. Any questions about the loot system?
Instructions unclear. I get all the loot.
Okay. Good deal. Yeah, it's.
Hey, Mac, real quick.
Go ahead.
How do you plan on checking and keeping it visible who has their hard reserved item completed or not?
Right. So what we'll do is we've got a spreadsheet that I'm working on. Let me see if I can a spreadsheet that I will share with the raid. It will be in the Raider channel, which I'm going to make live after this, and you'll be able to see what are the current reserves for everyone, whether or not they've received it. So that's a great question. Any other questions about loot?
Yeah, are the weapons going to be specified, or is it
Yeah,
just
so-
anything that comes through?
Yeah, I would say anything that comes through that is good. Obviously, there's, there are very limited weapons. So, for those healers, for those tanks, we just want to get them loot. They're not going to get two pieces. For example, if they decide they're going to go with the one-handed weapon, then we're not going to reserve a shield. Also, we're not going to hard reserve an offhand if they're a caster and they go with or if they're a healer and they want a one hand also. So
Well, I'm just looking. There's a ton of weapons, and outside like druid, it's kind of, it's specified because there's a lot of, great. There's more damage on it, but there's a lot of amplifiers to the weapons.
Right. So, I think in most cases, yes, there are a lot of weapons, but I think in most cases there are only one or two choices for weapons. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would say let's use common sense. If, a tank, there's only one weapon choice, so they're going to have to specify what they get, what they want. and we want to be fair because we want everybody to be able to get weapons, but that is the most significant upgrade for healers as well as for tanks. Any other questions?
I have a question. It's not directly related to loot though, and it should have been asked in the prior section. But you said earlier about running dungeons for loot, pre-bis.
Yep.
Particularly the warlock tank is the pre-bis is a bunch of greens and some blues. Just to make that clear, because what you need mostly is stamina, because you have low health. So as far as the warlock tank can go for pre-bis, it's gonna be a bit janky. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. There are things out there. I know if you have questions about pre-bis, I know that Yaz has been working really hard on his pre-bis, and he's kind of the expert for warlocks. Any other questions about loot? All right, let's talk about BOEs. So when BOEs drop, what we're going to do is we're not going to hand them out immediately, but at the end of the raid night, if it is a significant upgrade for the player's rating spec, it's the discretion of the officers and the raid leader to award the BOE instead of selling on the auction house. So say for example, a chest drops and it's a 2% upgrade for you. Is that a significant upgrade? No, probably not. If no one else needed it, chances are, if it's not a significant upgrade, we'd probably be looking at selling the BOE on the auction house. The other thing to kind of keep in mind is if that player's already won, 3 or 4 pieces for the night, or if it's just a marginal upgrade, then that can kind of help us to decide whether or not to award a BOE. I know this can be kind of a controversial thing, but one of the things that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to provide consumables eventually, and so those BOEs are going to go into the sale of the BOEs would go directly into the guild bank. If they are not sold for the use of consumables and raid mats. If you are awarded a BOE, they must be equipped before you leave the raid. Okay, so we're going to inspect you before you leave the raid. If a BOE is not distributed, it can be sold to any guild member within 2 days at a 50% discount off the lowest auction house price. So what that does is that allows that guild member to get a deep discount on the BOE if it's a very, very small upgrade and if it doesn't meet the criteria that we just talked about. If there are no buyers within the guild, then the quartermaster will be responsible for selling the BOEs. Just so that you're aware, Nicolette, our quartermaster, is keeping a spreadsheet that has all of the BOEs, the inflow, the outflow, and she will be keeping track of that for full transparency, so that everyone can see that nobody's pocket is getting lined, but all that the gold for it is being deposited into the guild's war chest for raids. With that in mind, also, I would ask that consider if you are a crafter, if you have professions, any donations that you might have for the guild war chest, whether that be gold, raw mats, consumables, crafted gear, it is appreciated to help strengthen all of the guild overall. So we are taking those donations if you're able to do that. No pressure to do so, but it certainly is helpful and will help us in the future to meet those needs. So that is going to be our policy for BOEs. Is anything unclear, or are there any questions about that? Okay. I would just ask, if you have any questions, make certain that you reach out. Keep an open line of communication with your raid leader or with your officers. If you have any concerns about raiding, do it privately, like we talked about, rather than discussing publicly. We want to have an open ear to everything. We just want to have fun with this. We don't want it to be toxic or dramatic. We just want to have a good time, and we want to kill some bosses and enjoy being a family together. So those are the raid policies. Those are going to be posted in the raiding policies channel that I'll be sharing here in just a minute. Let me share another document. So we're kind of building this out. Each raid team will have their own soft reserves. So they'll have their own sheet. Everyone will have access to this for their own raid team. And before you raid that at night, you'll want to log in using the link that I provided, and you'll want to put your soft reserve onto that sheet prior to raid. The last thing that I would share is that we do want to, in order to be able to put the teams together, we need all of you to take a survey. There is a link. There will be a link to that in the rating policies channel, and so that's a survey that we've put out there. And I do want to ask that you fill out this survey between now and midnight tomorrow night, because that will allow us to have some time to put the raid teams together with some forethought. I would ask that only players that are intending to raid with us fill this out. This is our time for us to commit to a class and role. So your choices now are going to affect how we put together the team. So and also, please don't take the survey more than once. That would be most helpful. So what I would ask is that all of you, once I open up this survey, take the survey, fill it out, and get it into us before midnight tomorrow night. That way, officers and raid leaders would be able to do that. The last thing I wanted to share with you is that right now we have 4 folks that have stepped up to be raid leaders, and we do, and 4 of them, or 3 of them are officers, 1 is not. So there could be a possibility of us having 4 raid teams. Right now in this meeting, we have more than 40 folks. So there's a possibility that we may need a 5th raid team. If you have experience leading raids, then there's a question on the survey that allows you to ask that to let us know if you are interested in leading that 5th raid if it comes to us needing a 5th raid team. So appreciate your helping us out with getting the survey in quickly, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time. So that's all that I have for tonight. Any other questions for the good of the order before we go out and kill stuff?
Where did you say the survey was?
Okay, so I'm getting ready to open up that. It's going to be in the rating policies. I'm getting ready to open it right now.
I have a question.
And if you would, hang on just a second. So if you would look under intro, important reads, you should now see a rating policies channel at the very top. Can somebody please confirm that you can see it?
Yeah, it's there.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
Sweet. All right. Questions?
Yeah. So,
when
go
do
for
you
it.
plan to get all the groups together to start?
Okay, that's a good question. So we're closing the survey on Wednesday. We're going to tomorrow night, which is Tuesday night. Wednesday, officers and raid leaders are going to get together. We're going to put the raid teams together. Hopefully by Wednesday night, at the end of Wednesday night, we'll have the raid teams. There is a question on the survey of days and times that you're available. So You know, that'll be the biggest thing for us to kind of put together. So hopefully by Thursday morning, we'll know all the raid teams. We'll post it. We'll let everybody know what the raid teams are. We'll put them in the rating policies channel.
Okay, so like this Wednesday. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So I got a quick question.
Yep.
Some of us are level 25 right now and want to raid BFD probably right now before it resets tomorrow.
Yeah. Go. Well.
Can we just do an ad hoc raid for that?
Absolutely, you can. Just remember, it's not. My understanding is that it's a 3-day reset. So does it unlock by the calendar or by the time that you are locked? That's the question.
I had
By
heard
the
it's calendar.
calendar. It's by calendar.
Okay.
Yeah, so we
if
have tonight.
If you want to do an ad hoc
and then
raid, feel free to go forth and do it. Grab some guildies and have some fun.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, great question. Anybody else?
How long is it
About
like?
lockouts. Oh, go ahead.
So, about how long is the raid gonna last?
It's gonna
Approximately.
It's going to depend. You know, at first you could probably do 2 to 3 hours. But I think once we get gear, we'll probably be able to clear it within an hour and a half.
Okay. And are we raiding multiple times in a week?
So that really kind of depends on you. And so I would just, if you, with the lockouts, they're once every 3 days. So there is the possibility to raid twice a week.
Okay. And then for those of us who have a lot of stuff going on and probably may not be able to commit right away to being like a full-time raider.
Yep.
What happens for us as far as like, well, like once I'm available and I want to raid, do I stay on this like maybe I have a spot, maybe I don't, or do I just go find my own thing to do?
Well, hopefully we'll be able to find a spot for you once you're available. We do have a question on the survey that asks if you're ready now. That's why we want to have more raid leaders than we have raid teams. That way we can be dynamic because we understand real life happens, right? So
yeah.
People are gonna drop off raid teams. People need to come into raid teams. My suggestion is that there's a question: do you want to raid full time, or are you looking to be kind of a pinch hitter sort of role? So my suggestion would be for now be a pinch hitter. And then express once you're ready to commit deeper, then express to an officer or me or one of the raid leaders that hey, you're ready to jump in, and we will do our best to find a spot for you.
Okay.
We will definitely do our best at it.
So in that last question, it's the only time we can actually type stuff in.
I can't hear you. You're very, very faint. Can you get a little bit closer to the mic, please?
Is that better?
It is better, yeah.
Okay. That last question is the only place we can like type stuff in because you have 6 to 10, and like I wouldn't be available till like 7 p.m. server. So.
Yeah, those are general times.
Okay.
Yeah, those are just kind of general times. So we're gonna remember that the server's on Mountain Time as well. So once we get the teams generally put together, then we can kind of come back and do a little bit more fine tuning. Because the time slots can be fluid based on starting times for folks.
Let's say like I primarily want to tank, but if that's not what's available, then what is it like? How does having a backup character that might be like a DPS, like how does that work?
Well, the way I'm not following you, Shallots. So so basically, if there's not a tank spot, then obviously you would be a bench player on that tune. You know, we do have the policy that, you know, only one main per raid tier. You know, the other option would be, you know, if you don't get a tank spot immediately, then obviously you could either have a different tune ready to go, or you could tank on that, or you could DPS on that tune.
Okay.
Is Colin are probably going to be backup bench warmers? Is there anything about loot towards backup and main raider?
No.
I would understand that there is. I was just curious what that was about.
You would get one soft reserve. You would have the same opportunity to come in and make one soft reserve whenever you did come in to raid. So.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep, we want to be fair. You know, we want to be fair to those who do come in and pinch it, but you know, it's a fine balance between being fair to them, and then there's you know the whole DKP thing where the people that are there all the time get benefit from it. But you know, we want to make certain that everybody has the opportunity to win something.
That sounds good. I work 7 and 7, so it's I can step in every other week, so I'm there.
I appreciate it.
Another question that requires some general knowledge. I'm not sure if anyone knows the answer, but I don't know if the lockouts work like in retail, whereas like, let's say I do 3 bosses on my own, then you guys do 3 bosses, then I join the raid. Would that work? Like,
No.
or am I like, no?
No.
Okay.
In Classic, you have a raid lockout ID, and you cannot share. It's not boss specific. It's lockout specific.
Right.
So if you're on a raid team and you go in there and you kill 5 bosses, and then you start up your own raid, and bring a bunch of other people that aren't in the guild or aren't locked to that, then you're going to not only screw the rest of your raid team, but also the other players, because they're not going to be able to get any of the prior bosses as well.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, let's say I get benched, right, and I want to do the bosses, but I don't want to miss out on potential raiding, right?
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
just want to know.
Absolutely. I want to be mindful of your time. Any other questions? Because we need to go kill stuff.
One quick question: if we're unable to make the raid, there's no issue with going with like a pug raid or anything like that.
Right, within that lockout, it should be perfectly fine, just as long as you don't have that you don't get locked out during the time when the next raid happens. For your
Okay.
team.
Just last one. Do we know what the lockout rotations are yet?
Yes. If you have Nova World buffs, it should already be active on the add-on.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Well, if you do have any more questions, make certain.
I have a relevant question.
Sure, go ahead.
Are you requiring add-ons?
We don't require any add-ons. I know some people are like, I don't need add-ons, but I know for me, I'm an idiot. So if I don't have some basic add-ons, I'm gonna die, and so I use add-ons. But I wouldn't say that they're required.
Well, wait, Mac. I thought we were requiring like DVM. And,
That's nice for raid warnings.
And
Yeah.
Pally Power. I thought we were requiring Pally Power.
What's Pally Power?
It's
Let's
managing
not
buffs.
get off on add-ons. We're going to have, I think this is a conversation for the officers to have that we kind of need to follow up on. But what would be, if there are required add-ons, what you should have. So stay tuned on answering that question, please.
Would y'all mind, whenever you get to that point, would y'all mind adding, I don't know, just in general or whatever, some good add-ons that'd be great for rating?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sweet. Thanks.
Probably have it our own add-on like an
Yep. All right. I'm going to call us to an end. If you do have any questions, make certain that you send me an in-game email and or you can whisper me. I know that the team that went last night is going to continue to raid, so I might not be as responsive tonight. But if you do have any questions or concerns, make sure you reach out to me. So, thanks everyone. Let's go out and kill stuff. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for putting it together.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.